Hello everyone, it's Lisa and I'm back this week and I'm here to review with you how to prepare your final project that you're working on now for the board design, that's project 3, and how to get ready, get your work ready for your final portfolio in this class. We're pretty much finishing up and these are the last two activities in addition to your vocabulary quiz that you're responsible for this class. So in here. Okay, so here's your final board design progress report. And just like the first project in here, the digital map painting, you're pretty much submitting the same exact materials. Definitely need to submit to me a layered Photoshop document, which most of you have set it up properly based on your peer critique from last week. I pretty much have graded all those and left comments. So based on those comments from me, I'm your instructor, and the comments from your peers in the discussion, you should be revising those final board designs to turn in for Sunday. And for the most part, everybody had it set up properly. Those of you who did not set up your board design files properly, you need to go back and look at the video. I think it is week, let's see, which one would it be? Week 10 for how to set up the board design files properly. Okay, so in addition to your layered Photoshop file, you're also submitting your process report, and that will include, and I have an example here to sort of go over that with you. So I'm going to pop into Word here, and I'm using one of the students from the class who prepared a report. So this is all her process work. She has her written section where she answered those questions that were part of that assignment, where you had to do some market research and you had to kind of come up with a target market, and there was some groundwork in terms of research that you had to do in the beginning of the project. And then you also had to put together some sketch work and start to begin to locate some imagery and such that you'll be using in your board designs. Notice here the sketch work is in here, as well as this particular student also indicated all of the links to where she located all the imagery. If you're using other people's work or other people's photography, artwork, words, or what have you, you need to make a citation inside your process document citing that source. So this student has done that. Also the sketch work is in here. And then in addition to that, over here, I've placed in the a JPEG of the file that was submitted in the peer critique, so that I could open up your process report and then open up your final and look and compare to see if you've made modifications to your final document that you turn in. So make sure that you prepare your process document properly. Make sure that you include all of those things. Again, your write-up, your market research write-up, your bibliography, citing your sources, your sketch work, and then your progressive JPEG of your project in the peer critique. So that will entail everything that you need to turn in for the final project 3. Okay, and that's worth 100 points. And I am going to go ahead and grade those and give you feedback back to you in this grade, and then that will be used on your final portfolio. So that's what I'm about to review next. I have a handout in here that I have placed to explain how I'd like for you to prepare your final portfolio, and I have that open here. This handout, if you haven't taken a look at this, you need to open this up and read this through. And this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to revise all the projects you've worked on in this class, and that would be your digital map painting, your scrapbook project, and your board design project. And you're going to create a final portfolio of all that revised work. And you're going to submit to me a PDF of that portfolio. So it explains here what you need to do. In number 1 at the top, I'm expecting you to design a really nice cover showing me your Photoshop skills and what you've learned in the class. So take this cover serious and take some time to sit down and design this cover, because this is a representation of some of the skills you've learned in this class. So do a nice job on it. So I'm expecting you to include your name somehow, whether it be, you know, your name, portfolio, or give your portfolio a name and include your name, or however you want to present that. But you need to have your a title on it, which would be your portfolio, your name, the name of this class, and then the year. Okay, so you're going to need to have that information on your cover design, and then you'll create the contents of the portfolio based on all of your other projects. You'll also be using the PDF presentation utility that you used last time when you made the scrapbook. So you'll be using that again, and I've given you some instructions here about what you need to do to put that together. I also have a couple of things I want to talk about before I show you the final here. Over here in Photoshop, I actually have done this. I've made the final portfolio of the collection of all of the examples I've been using in class. And this is my cover design. So I used the design of my website. I just revised it a little and put together a cover design. So this is my cover for digital imaging, and this is my portfolio. In addition to that, I have the digital map painting project that I've used this as an example. So this is the one I'm going to put in the portfolio. I have that open, as well as you can kind of see in my list here, I have the cover and I have the table of contents open here from my color correction scrapbook. So that is also open, as well as I have all the pages from my scrapbook opened up here. Okay. Now, what you're going to have is all of this work will be revised from what you turned in originally. So you turned in the work to me. I gave you feedback based on comments in your grading area. You're to go look at those comments and revise your work based on those comments. And that is the work you're going to use to put in your portfolio. Okay? When you create your PDF, and again, the instructions for that are back here in this handout right here. You're going to use the PDF presentation. And a couple of comments about that. That's located here under File, Automate, PDF Presentation. Now what's important is that you have all of these documents open in Photoshop before you go to create your PDF presentation, because then you can simply just turn this feature on right here and all the documents that are open will come up in your list of what will make up the PDF. Now the nice thing about this is you can actually move these files around. So you want to organize this so that all of the files are in the right order that you'd like them to be. So I need to put my cover and my table of contents for my scrapbook up here above my scrapbook pages. So I've got, and here is my cover design for the portfolio. I need to move that up above the project below it. This is actually the surfboard, or the surfboard project, so I'm going to move that down to the end here because that was the last project. So I've got it kind of set up like this. I've got my cover design, I've got my digital map painting, I have the cover design and the table of contents and all of the corrected pages of my scrapbook, and then I have my final board design. And it goes through this in that handout that I gave you. So I'm not going to actually do it because it'll take a few minutes here, but once you get everything in order here and you have all of the options turned on that I have in this handout, which are pretty much nothing. Yeah, you don't have to have any of these options on because you're not going to use any of them. You just want to reorganize the files so that they're in the right order, and then you'll hit save. And it will create your PDF presentation for your final portfolio. And that will look like, I've already gone ahead and done that, so I'm going to go ahead and open mine up here and double click this, and here it is. Whoops, I have it open already. It's actually back here. Here it is. And here it is. So when you open it up in Acrobat, you should see that it has multiple pages. You should have at least up to 15 pages in here if you've done it properly. You should have a cover design, which here's my cover design, and then your digital matte painting, the cover design of your scrapbook, the table of contents of your scrapbook, all of the pages of that scrapbook, and then your final board design project. Okay? And again, these are supposed to be revised based on comments that I've left you in the discussion. So that's the expectation here. What else was I supposed to go through here? Those are the two things, was making your final report and how to prepare your final work. One other thing that will occur next week, and I am going to post that assignment this weekend. Let's see. Let's go to eCampus here. One other thing that you're responsible for that is also on your schedule of events for the class is the vocabulary quiz. And that vocabulary quiz will open up next week, and it will show up as a button here in the left-hand column where the navigation buttons are. You'll see a button there that says digital. It'll say DI vocabulary quiz, and that's an open book quiz. So I gave you a handout a couple weeks ago that had all the vocabulary terms on it. I also showed you some additional handouts that would be covered on the test. And I also talked about ways in which you can look up your terms and vocabulary using the help menu. So I'm not sure if I'm going to make a video next week. Maybe, maybe not. There may not be a reason to make a video next week. So this might be the very last video that I make for the class. But I do want to say this has been a great class and a good experience. I think everything worked out well. I love teaching this class, and I hope you learned a lot. So if there are no questions, or if there are any questions, you can always leave questions in the week 12 problems and solutions area, which I just noticed I don't have in here. I'm going to have to add that in. So I'm going to add that in as soon as this video is over. But otherwise, I enjoyed working with all of you, and good luck in your future endeavors.